I'm back with Khaled Barakat, former editor of Al Sharuk newspaper. He now writes stories for the Arabic press around the world. You're a member of the Palestinian diaspora. As you said, there's more people outside, more Palestinians outside of Palestine than inside. I suspect the same is true for Jews. There's more Jews outside of Israel than inside. What role are those two respective diasporas playing it here? Because some people have said, certainly when it comes to the Jewish American lobby, they're very influential, they're very powerful, certainly people have made strong claims that they've hijacked some of these discussions outside. And I know Israelis who live in Israel, Jewish Israelis, say, why are these people outside the country telling us how to do it when we actually want to do it differently? Is that the case with the Palestinian side as well?
I mean, I am one of the people who don't believe in the Jews control the United States and that there is a conspiracy and that the Zionists, I mean, I believe that it's in the interest of the United States to support Israel.
Sure.
And definitely there is a huge common denominator there between the pro-Israel lobby, and that is diverse from all sorts of trends, not only Jews. I mean, that
evangelicals there's a lot of
they're leading the pro-Israel lobby. So it's in the Arab and the Palestinian situation. Lobby, let's say, or communities, they're new to the diaspora issue. Since, let's say, 1967, Palestinians started to actually migrate to the Western countries and particularly the United States. Mm-hmm. And it's an oppressed community, mostly workers and small business owners, and so they're not really. They don't have the. They're not in a friendly environment in order to be supported and become stronger, where there is a space for Palestinians to actually demonstrate their support for Palestine, like in Venezuela or in Brazil or in South Africa, the Palestinian community there. It's different, right, because the environment is different. I mean, living in New York and living in Tel Aviv pretty much almost is the same thing, So.
Well, let's talk about Obama for a moment, because he really is almost a Rorschach test for whoever is sort of looking at the Middle East through Obama, brings their own politics to it, because he seems to be equally hated by conservative, pro-Israeli Americans and others as he is hated by Palestinians and people in the Arab world. A lot of people on the Palestinian side say he's too pro-Israel, right? I mean, how do you see it?
Well, when Obama addressed the Arab world from Cairo, when he first visited the region, mm-hmm, after he was elected, and he gave that famous speech in Cairo, right, he said that the United States will stand for a Palestinian independent state, that Israel needs to stop building or expanding, right, settlements, stop demolishing Palestinian homes. And he retreated from that one after another, mm-hmm, and he ran away to the proximity talk and the non-direct talk.
Right.
And some people argue that Obama as a person really wants to do something for the Palestinian, but he can't. I think Palestinians understand that the United States, it's not Saudi Arabia. It's not run by a person or an, right, individual.
Well, that's one of the problems. That, right, really,
there is a strategic
you have Hamas, you have Fatah, you have Gaza, you have all these different places.
I mean, there is the constant interest, strategic interest of the United States, and there is the details. The strategic interest of the United States in the region are, in my view, three pillars. Are the oil, their allies, particularly Israel, and stability. Stability means calm, and that's what they call peace, is that if there is stability, if there is calmness in the region, that's mean it's peace. Peace, it's a vague word, and it doesn't have really any meaning unless you give it a substance. Mm-hmm. It's like one of those, words like terror, and like, right, love, and all these words. If you don't give it a substance and a meaning, it means nothing.
Right. Well, I gather just from what you're saying before that you support Hamas more than you support Fatah. personally?
I think most Palestinians support the political line that Hamas represent more
and yet
than
most people,
Hamas.
See, I think that's one of those red flags where I think even some of our viewers are like, well,
Right.
wait, doesn't the United States call Hamas a terrorist? You know, is this some Al-Qaeda guy sitting there? Like, how do you
Right.
deal with that sort of perception?
There is, I think, a calculated kind of a fabricating of an image to put, for example, Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and Hezbollah in one
Right.
package and say, look, they are all the same.
Right.
Hezbollah is not like Hamas, Hamas is not Al-Qaeda. They come from completely different backgrounds. And I think that it's very important to understand why did the Islamic groups like Hezbollah, like Hamas and Islamic Jihad are actually leading the, let's call it the rejection camp or the resistance camp against Israel now at these particular moments in our history. The reason is because the previous movements, which is the secular and the leftist, and were giving nothing by the United States and Israel.
Right.
They were also crushed by the United States and Israel. And of course, they didn't call them Islamic terrorists then.
Right.
They called them the Red Commies, or they called
Right.
them the, the Palestinian, what have you. So, I mean, there is always a name and there's always a tag it's in the case of Hamas. Hamas is a political movement. It's a political social movement. Before they even were elected, they were providing services for the popular classes and the impoverished sectors in the Palestinian community, in refugee camps particularly. Their record in terms of corruption is nothing compared to Fatah and to the PA, Israel allies, Also, they have participated in not only the rhetoric that we support people and but actual resistance, like resisting the Israeli occupation and making it costly for Israel. Israel wouldn't withdraw from Gaza unless it was a very hot, spot. They couldn't hold on.
We just have about 30 seconds left, but I want to address quickly, if we can in 30 seconds, the right of return. Israel has the right of return. Any Jew who wants to go back to Israel can do that. You support the Palestinian right of return, but that's a really contentious issue. Why in Israel for the Israelis? Why?
Well, I mean, it's really the core of the Palestinian question, the Palestinian cause, is that people were displaced and they have the right to go back to their homes. Any Jew anywhere in the world can say, I want to go back and live in Haifa or Tel Aviv, and the next day he or she will be guaranteed that right. Yet Palestinian refugees cannot even go back to their own cities and their own villages. Now, let alone that the international community support this right of return, but it's rejected by Israel.
Let me interrupt you, but I'd love to have you back because there's so much more to talk about. Thanks for joining us. Coming up next, is Canada a post-Christian nation? We'll find out.